Hey there, this is Ryan Nickel, and this is a day in the life of a bootstrap real estate investor. And what I mean by bootstrap is we actually go from zero to very low cost when it comes to marketing for our properties. And this is episode number 24 coming at you out the door. All right, so one of the things I do daily. No, I take that back. That's a lie. I don't do this daily. Sometimes I'm just way busy. I don't even do it. But I definitely do this often enough. Like I say, probably do it several times a month. Is Zillow. And one of the things I look for is I go under, they call them potential listings, but I'm going pre-foreclosures in my area here. And I look at these properties. Now you can see the dark blue ones are the ones I haven't clicked on yet because they're newer ones. And then the ones that are light blue I've already clicked on. I don't know if you can actually see a difference. Yeah, you can see a difference there. So here's something though. This is interesting. So I got this house right here. This is in my neighborhood. I've driven these properties, and I called this lady up. And here's the address. You can see. So it's a pre-foreclosure. It's estimated about $210,000 is what they estimate the property. She bought it in 1999, and Wells Fargo has it, and it's about $14,000 past due. So I've dropped off a letter at her property. She lives here locally in town. So I went out there, dropped off a letter, never heard from her at all. And so I was like, that's fair. So I called her today. And so I have a system. I use TLO. I pulled her up, went and looked for her. And I got her phone number, literally like bam, just like that. Very first thing, her phone number. So I called her up. I left a message that said, hey, you know what? It's real simple. I just said, hey, this is Ryan Nickel. I live in the neighborhood. I drove by your property over off of Drummond. I got a couple of questions for you. Don't know if this is available or not. I am interested. I'm in the market to be buying a home. Can you give me a call back? Just kind of sweet, really, to the point. Didn't say, hey, I'm an investor. I'm going to buy your property for 10 cents on the dollar. And I also didn't lie and say, hey, my mom and dad are looking for a house, or hi, my wife and I are looking to move in. I don't know why I changed my voice, but that's what I did. So go with it. So anyway, because I've tried all those techniques before, and it's just stupid. It's just like, tell the truth. Like, don't lie to these people. And so I called her up, and that's what I said. I left the message. And so she called me back. And I said, hey, I'm interested in your house. My wife and I live in the neighborhood. We're looking at, buying another property here. And is this home for sale? She's like, no, I'm not interested. It's not for sale. I'm not interested in selling it. I'm like, oh, okay. I totally stalled, totally choked. I'm like, ah. And then it happens, And she's like, okay, well, thanks for calling, click. And then, that was the end of it. And so I was thinking okay, you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to draft up a letter. Nice little letter like, hey, Michelle, thanks for talking to me on your phone. I know you're not interested in selling. Have you considered maybe doing a lease option, or can I rent the property, or can I do something, blah, 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 and then send her my 3-option letter. You're basically a cash price, a seller finance, and a lease option price. And that's typically has been my approach. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to call her back. So it's been about a good hour, and I just called her back. And I learned something, and I thought, you know what? I learned something, so I'm going to share this with you as well. So the conversation went this way. I said, hey, this is Ryan. We just spoke about an hour ago. I know that you're not interested in selling your property, and that's okay. Have you considered renting it? Her response, oh, no, I'm not going to rent that property. It's not rentable right now. It's in real bad condition. My mom was a real heavy chain smoker. It needs a lot of repairs, blah, blah, blah. My mom's in a nursing home facility. The house is in my name, but it was originally my mom's. And she goes on this long story about what's going on. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Well, and then she said, this is what I'm doing with it. I was advised by an attorney just to let it go. I own a second mortgage. The second mortgage is 3 times the one of the first. It's just a lot of money, a lot of headaches. I don't want it. It needs a lot of repairs. I'm like, well, I'd be interested in. And she goes, it's going to take an investor type that's going to want to come in there. It's not move-in ready kind of thing. It needs an investor. I'm like, well, that's what we do. We buy these properties. And she goes, no, I've been advised by my attorney just to let it go and to be done with it. I just don't want it anymore. It's been in my name. I know I have the notice of default. I know that Wells Fargo is, I'm waiting for them to act on it, but they haven't yet. And it's just sitting there, and it's just going to continue to sit there because I don't want it and I don't want the headache. I'm like, well, I understand you don't want the headache. What if you just were to deed it over to me and I were to take over those problems for you? She's like, no, I still have a tax consequence. I just want to get rid of it, get it done with, and just pay my dues and move on. And I'm like, okay, damn. Well, I'm trying here, you know, I'm trying to help you. And of course, she got some advice from an attorney, and that's what she's going to do and whatnot. And I don't know the implications, how this affects if, you know, if her mom is in a nursing home, if she doesn't sell it for a profit, if she has to pay some of that money back to the nursing home or whatever. So I don't know all of those, the ins and outs. But here's the key point here, and this is what really took you know, me for kind of a loop here. She said something in passing. She goes, you know, when she was talking about these investor types, she's like, you know, it takes, you know, it's going to take an investor to do this. I go, that's okay. And she goes, you know, you probably already know this, but since it's been a notice of default, I've received a lot of letters and inquiries from other investors about this property, and you're the first that I've ever responded to. I'm like, what the heck? I'm the first. And so I asked her this question. I'm like, whoa, why am I the first? You know, I said, well, what was that? You know, what made me so special? You know, I appreciate it. Thank you. And her response to me was, she's like, because you actually called me. I'm like, oh. She's like, I have literally 40 or 50 letters and postcards from all these investors that want to buy my property, blah, blah, blah. They can close quick, do all this crazy shit. But you actually picked up the phone. I'm like, oh. I said, okay. I mean, I'm like, that's cool, you know? And she's like, well, maybe it's just the way I'm raised, but I was taught that if someone calls me and they leave a message, that it's my responsibility to call them back. And you sounded polite enough on the phone that I wanted to return that favor. And I'm like, oh my gosh. How much money have I lost? How much money have I left on the table here because I wasn't willing to pick up the phone and call this person? So literally, the phone is, you know, mightier than the pen in this regard. I mean, I would have drafted this nice little letter, signed it, autographed it, whatever, popped it in the mail, and it just would have went into the stack of, you know, unforgotten letters that she has from all these other investors. So yeah, definitely learned here that I just need to pick up the phone more and talk to more people. Especially these ones that are hiding in pre-foreclosure. I used to go and door knock on these doors as well. Honestly, you know, just pick up the phone. So anyway, lesson learned here. Pick up the phone, make a phone call, make a few dials. You're going to find the person at home, or they might call you back or whatever. And who knows? Who knows what'll come of it? But anyway, learned a valuable lesson that I would have been wasting my time trying to chase this person down, sending her letters after letters and all my follow-up with my other pre-foreclosures and stuff like that. I mean, hell, I don't even know how many people I have on my list right now that if I would just pick up the phone, they'd be like, look, man, this is the situation. It's never going to be sold ever. I can just, you know, stop marketing to that person. So anyway, lesson learned. Phone trumps the mailing to these people. Now, if I can't find their phone number, of course, I'm going to mail to them, but that's the matter. That's the whole thing. So anyway, this is Ryan Nickel, and I'm signing out. This is another day in the life of a real estate investor, and this is what we do. We mail letters, and we pick up the phone, and we call people.